Well, let's speak to Durwood Zaelke, who's a climate specialist in Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us, Durwood. First of all, we know why this is happening. The science speaks for itself. Is there anything Romania can do about it?
Well, there's a limited ability to adapt. And your commentator earlier, your reporter said, change crops. That's possibility. More drought-resistant crops. You can use precision agriculture when you have the technology and the funding to do that. But the farmers are going to have to turn into political activists because the most important thing is to change the policies that we have so far failed to implement to slow down climate change in time. And farmers, when they want to exercise their political muscle, can be a very important force in any country in the world.
Yeah, well, yeah, just look at the French, for example. So when you talk about policy changes, specifically, which ones are we looking at? What would you like to see them do? And of course, Romania, a key member of the EU as well. So there is muscle and finance behind them. They've just got to convince them which way to move in.
So the most important thing that can be done is the fast mitigation strategies, which are to cut methane. That's number one in the oil and gas sector, also in the waste sector, and there is some from agriculture as well. That would be last on the list. Cutting methane is the single biggest and fastest way to turn down warming. And that's what you have to do to slow down the self-amplifying feedbacks where the Earth starts to warm itself.
Right. Durwood, just was short for time. I just wanted to pick up on that. You said it's the fastest way. Clearly, farmers are suffering right now. When you say the fastest way, how fast is that?
Well, within a matter of years. So if you cut methane, you get the climate reduction, 90% of it, within the decade. So it is the single fastest way to slow down warming. Cut methane.
Okay, and how?
Well, we have a global methane pledge. That's a good start. We have at the last big climate meeting a promise from the oil and gas sector, 50 major companies who said, we will cut our methane emissions from leaks and from flaring to near zero by 2030, within now 5 years. That needs to be moved from a promise to a mandatory measure where there's muscle behind it, where countries are going to be holding their industry responsible for keeping the promise.
Okay, and in the short term, what can farmers do?
Well, I mean, they can get crop insurance. I mean, they can, again, switch crops. That's not fast either. When they've learned traditionally to grow certain crops, and they can pray for rain.